let's talk American League Rookie of the Year, where Holliday is the second choice in the betting market behind Wyatt Langford of the Texas Rangers. Langford about plus 240, Jackson Holliday about 3. Evan Carter, also of the Texas Rangers. I know someone that you liked a lot coming down the stretch last year as Texas was on their run to a World Series. I think you had like a long shot price on him to win World Series MVP. Evan Carter plus 375. And I just want to say this name because I think it's fun. Colton Cowser. I don't even know what team he plays on. He's 12 to 1. Jake, any thought on Jackson Holliday betting him to an American League Rookie of the Year? And what about this market as a whole?
Well, hang on to your socks for this one, Nick. Colton Cowser, also a Baltimore Oriole, but probably won't win because they only play him against, right? They don't play him every day, and he probably won't win. But I think that Jackson Holliday, I was saying earlier this week that I was waiting for him to get called up before I wanted to bet him to win this award. And the price just never really drifted. I think we all expected him to be up sooner rather than later, because he's awesome and he's the number one prospect in baseball. But for myself, as somebody who has Wyatt Langford already at 5 to 1, I'm not going to bet Jackson Holliday at this number and then have two 5 to 1, 4 to 1 prices and wait until Thanksgiving for them to pay out. I'm going to wait, and maybe Holliday just comes out of the gate on fire right away and runs away with the award. I don't know, but I would rather wait and see if there's an opportunity maybe that he takes some time to adjust. And maybe this price does drift out a little bit to 6, 7, 8 to 1. And then maybe there's an opportunity. But right now, before he's even taken a major league at bat, as somebody who already has a 5 to 1 on Wyatt Langford at a short price, I'm not going to jump in just yet. But I mean, I'm excited for it. I'm going to bet his props tonight. I'm going to bet his props for the next couple days because he's really good. He's been in the minor league saying, yeah, I'm gonna go hit a home run this plate appearance, and then doing it because he's that awesome. And by the way, he's 20 years old.
So is he gonna be like a monster immediately? Which doesn't mean that he's not gonna go through slumps like anyone does, but you expect him to be like really good immediately.
Yeah, he's been tearing it up at AAA. He teared it up in the minor leagues all of last year. There's been a tweet going around today of Buster Olney from 11 years ago when this kid was 9 years old saying, yeah, he's going to be an all-star, which is insane because it looks like that's on track to come true, which might come true this year. He's still got a ton of time. But, yeah, I mean, I think he's just going to be a monster. This is just another iteration of the Orioles calling up a dude who's just awesome and is going to be a fixture in their lineup for the next 10 years.
So here's $100, Nick. You have to bet a team to win the Eastern Conference, factoring in price. Who are you taking and why?
Boston.
Right?
I know that we could make the argument. I mean, out of that list, I would look at all those teams and I'd say, all right, I've seen Miami do this. I know how good Jimmy Butler can be and how much he can elevate both himself and his team when the games matter the most. That's probably where I would throw the money if you said you can't touch the Celtics. Just think the Celtics are so much better, have been so much better. I've never believed in Philly, even though they look like they're finding their way and Embiid is back. I think a team has to learn how to win together when it matters the most, and that Sixers team has never shown to be able to do that. I would take Boston, and I wouldn't even think about it, and I would go pick up whatever my small winnings would be when the time came.
All right, so Nick gave you $100 to make the bet, whatever you want. I'm going to give you 100 more to bet on anybody but Boston. Come on, man. Give me something here to believe that it's not going to be Beantown. We talked a little bit yesterday about Orlando. I think this team is playing everywhere exceptionally well, except the guards. I wonder if they can get it. I agree with you that Philly has never done it, but nobody's ever done it until they do it. And I was worried about Joel until he comes out with a 38-11-8 stat line last night in a game that absolutely mattered. So you can take his hundo and throw it on the Celtics. But here's another one for me, because we're radio guys. We're just absolutely floating in cash over here. Put it on somebody else. Give me anybody that's at least a threat.
I would say Miami. I mean, I really would. I don't buy Milwaukee. I don't buy Philly for the reasons that we described with that group. Cleveland, guys, I covered that Cavs-Knicks series a year ago in the postseason. In the 15 years that I've been doing this, I have never seen a team in Cleveland get eaten alive by a building the way that the Cavs did at Madison Square Garden. that team was rocked by the emotions at MSG. So I don't believe in the Cavs at all. The Knicks, they have their moments. Jalen Brunson has been great, but I just don't see them having enough, certainly without Randall and the rest of the group that is in place now. They desperately need another star. The Magic, I mean, look, I grew up in Orlando. I was a Magic fan wearing Horace Grant goggles to the finals game in '95. I say all that team can't shoot. So it's hard to get through a postseason run, and especially out of the East, if you're not knocking down shots from the outside. So Miami hasn't had a good year. They've been up and down, but they have Eric Spoelstra and they have Jimmy Butler. And when you have those two in place with Bam Adebayo playing defense the way that we know he can, if you force me to pick somebody besides Boston, I'd throw a flyer on the Heat.
Celtics right now minus 175, Bucks plus 550, Philly plus 850, Cleveland and Miami at 15, my Knicks at 16, and we can just throw the Pacers and the Magic in for bleeps and giggles. Indiana 50, Orlando 66. Who are you putting that hundo on and why?
I made the case of the Sixers when I came on weeks ago, and you guys kind of talked about that further, and you were like, well, we don't know about Embiid, and he's looked awesome. Got that ticket already in, so I'm not going to use that one now because the price is down. Nick, I went on the show last year. I tried to make you feel better about it. I'm telling you, buddy, Knicks 16-1. There is a very good chance that they sneak out of the Celtics bracket. There is that whole chunk is so in flux. Now they could wind up in it, and that's a problem. But if you look at where the Bucks are with the Giannis injury, if the Knicks land 3 or 6, they are in, or theoretically 2, they are in a really good spot here to make a run. My argument on the show before, when I tried to make you feel better about it, is what we've seen from the Knicks so far, which is, yes, Julius Randle is awesome. He's a 2-time All-NBA player. The formula, the structure of this team doesn't need him. It's high pick and roll with Brunson and either Hartenstein or Mitchell, with spacers around the floor and ferocious defense. Julius Randle doesn't affect any of that. Any of it. Does he help with the rebounding? Sure. Are they a great rebounding team without him? Yes. The Knicks have the capability to make a run. I'm going to like them in a 3-6 versus Orlando. I'm going to like them in a 3-6 versus Indiana. I'm going to like them in a 2-7, depending on if it's Miami. I actually don't hate that as much as that's scary. Sixers 2-7 would be bad. That would be bad for me in all sorts of ways. But I'm telling you, man, best value in the East right now is the Knicks. And if you're just like, are we just inventing reasons not to take Boston? No. Like, Boston can't do, and all this regular season stuff is great. What a season. Incredible. It doesn't change the concerns. They are not going to be able to prove it until they actually do it. And they have continued to show the late game offensive problems. I will back Jalen Brunson at 16-1.
Is it your sense, Baldy, that right now, the 3rd overall pick in the draft, whether it's the Patriots, Minnesota, a team that goes up to number 3, is it more likely that that team, in your estimation, takes Drake May or J.J. McCarthy?
I think it seems like teams are more interested in J.J. McCarthy at this point. Like, he just continues to rise and be thought of so highly. He's a rare quarterback in this process, Nick, that nobody is tearing him apart. Like, I just said something about Drake May that bothers me. I never hear that about J.J. McCarthy. I could say Jaden Daniels can't run the way he did at LSU. He's going to get broken in half. I could take any one of these guys, and I could find flaws with them and say it. I can't find anybody to say any flaws about J.J. McCarthy. It's actually bizarre because I was talking to Cam Newton about it when we were at the Super Bowl this year. Like, they ripped Cam Newton apart, said he couldn't do this, couldn't do that, and he came out and he threw for over 400 yards in each of his first 2 games as an NFL starter. So that's J.J. McCarthy, because there's just not that much to really evaluate because of the style of play that they ran at Michigan. I feel like he's, like, untouched in this process. And every quarterback goes through this, grind where they're trying to find the flaws more than accent, the positives. And I feel like that's where JJ is right now. And I feel like he's going to end up being the 3rd guy.